As you have diverse backgrounds and experience with IPEmotion, I would like to take you through the product as I do when I come to a first-time customer, just to get him introduced to the product and show him some features. Basically what I like to cover, little introduction, then I will switch to the software, show you how to talk to different third vendor hardware devices, how to scale and configure channels, some very important functions in the options of IPEmotion, some settings, and then moving to the GUI and mimics setup, data storage, maybe some limit monitoring, and then moving to the data analysis, post-processing, and generate a report, so that we just see one full process of the data acquisition thing. So basically, IPEmotion is easy to use, and you hope you will verify that later, test and measurement software for all kind of data acquisition applications. So it is not a very dedicated specific product, niche product. Rather, it has a broad area of applications. We use it to interface it to third-party vendors. That could be anything reaching from our own products, from IPETRONIK modules to Yokogawa power analyzers, or any Modbus data acquisition system, whatever you have on the shelf. It is made to configure, of course, data loggers and data acquisition devices. You can use it for measurement, instrumentation, live data display, and also for test bench applications. And IPETRONIK uses heavily for CAN bus data acquisition projects. Basically, the application areas for IPEmotion, we use this in automotive testing, CAN bus data acquisition, as I said. We use this for test and measurement in the labs, just for taking data. So this is basically the easiest application. Or you take it even to control and automation for test sequencing, test bench automation. Yeah, product testing for quality assurance, end-of-line testing, or in the development labs. So this is what you can cover with IPEmotion. So everybody really has some strength in certain areas of applications, and IPETRONIK is strong in the automotive part in general, and also in the test bench stuff for HVAC test benches, for instance. We have different editions coming: a student, basic, demo for free, light entry version, and then you move up to standard, professional, or developers, or analysis for post-processing. Just one overview of the data acquisition from the devices. You know, we have the IPETRONIK products, CAN cards, so this is one field. We have interfaces and drivers for PLCs, Beckhoff, Vagos, Advantex. We have different high-speed devices, HBM, National, Goldammer, Gentner, Edwin, whatever. Yeah, so it's really our own SX, STG, strain gauge module. And any type of serial USB interfaces, evaluation boards, Atmel or Yokogawa power analyzers, scales, gas chromatography, whatever. It really, there's a lot. It's just some idea. That's all going into IPEmotion, and if you want, at the same time. Here my demo today, I have interface 2 cards, a Goldammer high-speed card and a student evaluation board, because they work quite nicely. And briefly, the licensing: you can have a PC license, or you can have the license sitting on a dongle, yeah, or multiple license on a dongle, and then you can either have the dongles attached to the computer, or you download it from the dongle, or you can have a floating license or borrow license with a server if it comes to larger accounts with many seats that you want a server license management. That's so far for the introduction. I would then start the software and take you through the product, and we may come back to 1 or 2 of the slides which are coming here in my presentation. Basically, where do you get IPEmotion? You get IPEmotion from the IPETRONIK homepage. Software, features, and here you have IPEmotion for download. There's always the latest, most recent version here behind this download button. I have started IPEmotion. I just go quickly to the options because when it starts, usually it comes up in a gray skin. I changed the skin to dark blue, yeah, so that you get a better contrast on your computer screen. What is also useful for you, include external files in your configuration that will make sure whenever you create a project and you send it to a customer, everything is included. Data files, bitmaps, pictures, background pictures, report pictures, whatever. It's recommended to have that box at least activated. And what I also recommend to do is to activate the expert mode, because then all the functions, we disabled some tab sheets and functions, but it's for me more comfortable to work with the expert mode because then everything is available. Basically, when you fire up IPEmotion, we have here the ribbon covering the project information, covering the signals, where we talk to different hardware devices. Acquisition is about everything related to data storage, online mass calculation, range and limit monitoring, maybe some FFT and classification, and the control module. In the view, we create displays for live data, and data manager and analysis are dedicated for offline analysis. Post-processing and reporting is about putting a report together. Scripting is about, for advanced people, adding script functions to their workflow or chain of data processing or functions. In the options, I missed one important bit. This is the plugin part, because here you decide with which hardware you will be talking to. So in my case, I will activate the video plugin that you can see from my webcam some video. I will activate the Goldammer multi-choice device I will show you later, and I have a Wellman board, and I will activate the demo plugins for some signals as well. If you need any plugin, hit the download button, which takes you straight to our IPEmotion website, and you can download the plugins from here. So I activated those plugins, so they get now integrated into IPEmotion. And from the signals side, I'm now on the signals work area, where we activated 4 plugins: video, Goldammer, Wellman, and demo plugin. And what I now do is, and this is the most important button for all of you, is the detect button. Detection of connected hardware. And I run just the hardware detection. And that now IPEmotion is scanning through all the active plugins, through all devices it can recognize, and it finds the video plugin with 2 video channels. It finds the Goldammer device, yeah, with all the channels. This is a USB board. Like, it finds the Wellman board, analog input, output, and for the demo plugin it generates some demo signals. So we are talking now to 4 devices, or at least 3 physical devices, with the IPEmotion software. Here on this tree you have a list of the units, and then you have your channel grid. Here in the channel grid you define your channel name. Yeah, this is my input, of course. You specify your sample rate. We can go here at 2 kilohertz, for instance, sample rate. And we have here, most important for analog inputs, is the scaling interface. So here on this interface you convert your electrical signal voltage into engineering units. This scaling interface is the same for any product you use, whether it's a Yokogawa one or a IPETRONIK module. You have always the same scaling interface. Probably depending on the hardware, the ranges. This is plus minus 5 volt, for instance, or plus minus 10 volt, or 0 to 10 volt. Yeah, and you have different scaling possibilities with multi-point scaling. Yeah, adding here a table and saying, okay, physically I have 5 and acquisition value is 3. Yeah, so you can have your own graphs in here, or you use factor offset scaling. Yeah, so many possibilities here. And the engineering units you can pick from a list or enter your own engineering unit. Basically, we have here these tab sheets. These tab sheets are mainly depending on the hardware. If you open IPETRONIK products, you have different tab sheets. If I go to the Wellman board, for instance, you have different functions included in these tab sheets. But in any case, you may sometimes got lost of these tab sheets. Yeah, so the details, here's a button, details, hide or show the details. So this is all about talking to the hardware. It's now time to get some live data on the screen. I can do here with the Start Display button. So, and now I'm reading here on my analog input already a small value. I can switch to another plug-in. Okay, the Wellman board, I don't get any signal. I have a demo plug-in, and here I get just some simulated signals. On the video plug-in, I can't see here in this data grid any numerical values, of course. So with this Start-Stop button, we enable the data display. So now I would like to take you to the next step, to the acquisition part. Here I like to show you two important things. The first, most important one is the store group, where you can add channels to your data storage. So just hit the all, well, you can select individual channels, of course, and add those channels, or hit all. So these channels are now included in a store group. I call this also 01 MI training. So on the saving itself, you can save the data in different formats. IPEmotion is of course the format which is most convenient for analyzing it with IPEmotion afterwards, but you can also save it to CSV files, diadem files, Excel files, and if you save it in Excel, you cannot import from Excel back to IPEmotion. The storage can be triggered. We have here the possibility to activate a trigger function, trigger data storage. So you may have a start trigger or a stop trigger condition or post or pre-trigger time. Yeah, and then you have a formula interface to define which analog input or which digital I/O or math condition trigger a condition. If you like to have some range monitoring, you can set up limit channels here. I just will do that for one channel. For my pressure channel, yeah, I specify a configuration. If my reference value is greater than 6 volt, I can do certain things. I can have a message window, an output channel, pop-up window, or start a program script. So I can do a lot of actions behind that threshold, basically. So here I could say my output channel could be my digital output 1 of the Wellman board. Yeah, I could switch this output value to 1 and reset it back to 0. I can make it a warning or an information. Yeah, limit crossed. Or I maybe even launch an external program, exe or a script, whatever. Brief word about some mass calculation. You can add a formula saying, okay, I want to have a sliding mean over my pressure channel. Then I make mean over pressure, semicolon 10. That means I'm making a sliding mean over 10 readings. Okay. So I call this sliding pressure. Save. So this is most the things you do in the acquisition. We have here online FFTs, classification, so anything with histograms and data classification, and the whole PID loop control test sequencing part. But this is more for test bench application. We may cover later. Now, I think it's time to bring data to the screen. So I hit the display button, because the nice thing with IPEmotion is you can create your screen mimics during the data acquisition. So we have here our channel list, yeah, of all the devices, and we can here pick charts, alphanumerical displays, meters, video display, maps. If we have GPS data, also maps could be used, video display. And now we can add the channels into the meters. We can add LEDs. Let me see, and I need my slide control, because I have an analog output. Sorry, I need to take this one. Delete. So this analog output is basically feeding to the analog input of my card. You can see the video, I hope. Yeah, is that okay in terms of quality? So, and this is basically the Goldammer card. You see that here, and I have just connected this analog output to this analog input, and this here is a little Wellman USB board, which gives you digital and analog IOs, and that is also very nice for demos, because what I will show to you when I add my switch, let me see, I have here switch. So, and I have on the Wellman board digital outputs, digital output, digital output, and digital output, and digital output. So, and then we can operate. Okay. You cross the limit, yeah. So it's all indicated. In this case, I get a pop-up message, and I get here also in the bottom the limit is crossed, our information message we have configured. So now we want to store the data, and there I hit the storage button, and now the data storage is enabled, and we can see that here our data file is now in the saving mode, and from here we can directly, during the saving, we can already access a data file. So here we have the tabulated overview, and from here we can run our exports. Here we can send already the data straight into Excel. So that's now exporting everything into Excel. Yeah? So we have here our channels and the measurements. The data manager will also allow you to export in the other formats, ASAM, XML, diadem, Famos, yeah, whatever what we have seen already before, GPX and KML files. Traffic files is specific for IPETRONIK data logger. And to do some analysis, we can now add charts. I do that, I can have the video channel coming in here, and my pressure channel, yeah, and my output, okay, and I can divide, for instance, let me see, divide vertically, so I could add another chart or a map, some map functions, yeah, and I want to see some position data here, combined with video and measurement data. We could also load another data file. So yeah, I have now two data files. I can set up a separate page, another page, and another object. So this is a reactive power analyzer from Fluke. And here I recorded the screen, and then you can start for instance, we play back here the signal, and we see the readings on the screen as well. We can have two cursors if you want to. Two cursors. Here I have two cursors. Here the readings from the cursor. And then, yeah, you can also zoom and stretch and move here in the analysis part. Yeah, so you can calculate some statistics or have the window. I mean, my window is now quite small because of the resolution, but here you see the cursor statistics. So between the two cursor points, I can calculate some statistics. The channel you select is highlighted. So here we have some analysis function. And from here, we have now two pages. Page 1 is this one here. Take the cursors out. And page 2 is another data file, which looks like that. And from here, we can directly switch and convert it into a report just by hitting the report button. So we have here page 1 is this part of the report, and page 2 looks like that, because I designed these two analysis pages. And from that report, you can have a preview as a PDF file. We are still storing, by the way, the data. You can see that we are still writing in our raw data file. And currently, just to show you, we have here about 24 seconds of data in the data file. That's what we see here. When I double click again on the raw data file, the system is refreshing, loading some more data into my graph. It's now 1 minute 30. Yeah, so it's refreshing the graph and importing more data. If we stop the storage now, hit the stop button, now the file is converted into our ERD file. So this is IPEmotion data file. If you like, you can also add separate coordinate systems. You can hide axis. Yeah, a couple of settings we can do. Merge equal axis, like the original one. In the data manager and in the analysis, you can apply offline math. I'll show you. You add a calculation. Here I have the channels from the data file, and here on the right hand side I have math functions. So if I like to see the square root of my pressure channel, it's now here included as a separate formula. Let me add a new page with this clean chart, formula and pressure. So there's not much difference in the signal what I see. We could add a mean calculation maybe. Make a mean of our pressure. Formula 2. And drag it in your graph. Here it is. So whatever we can calculate online, we can also calculate offline as a post-processing. And that channel here is now included. It's not yet included in the data file. To make that included in the data file, I have now to export now the data. MI data with, I call it math, and save it. So now it's exporting all the stuff to a new file. I delete the one. I load the file MI data with math. And now my two formulas are in here, Formula 1 and Formula 2. So I think I covered everything, how I would approach when I meet a new customer and just saying, hello, have a look over this complete data acquisition software, how to get an impression about the look and feel.